Yo ho ho, DML enjoyer. Today we've got a big day because it's the day where we'll be unlocking Zolto. So it's been a few days since the last ancient, and now we have Zeilk to get hatching. We've also got the Dragon of the Month to hatch, but of course the main thing I'm interested in is getting that huge Trampler boy, finally. I didn't spend any money on this event, so we did get him using the free gems that we acquired. I did get 100 gems in the dungeon once as well, so that was nice. But look at this cute little Zeilk. I say that, I hate the name Zeilk. I'm only going to be really calling him Zeilk. Zeilk just sounds so much better. Anyway, he is an Ancient Energy and Light dragon, and although Ancient Energy and Light isn't a bad combination, he was actually one of the less favourable options from this ancient event. But anyway, that is dragon number 3. We pop him in, and there we go. Zolto Rising. You have successfully finished the Zolto Rising and earned a reward. You got the Zolto Dragon. So there he is. Divine, Ancient, and Energy. Which does mean that this dragon has 2 incredibly useful elements, and energy, honestly, is also one of my favourite elements. I think it's just really, really useful in the dungeon. It depends on which dungeon, really, but we've got him, and he does have the shared highest stats in the game with the other Ancient Divines as well, so it's a really good dragon to add to your team if you want a really strong Bless or a really strong Leech. But the energy, maybe some people would have preferred a Water, for example, like if it was a Bahajia. But anyway, we have Zeilk here. So descendant of Raisk and close friend of Zolto. Zeilk absorbs lightning bolts and keeps track of energy signatures to analyze potential threats. It's a curious, friendly, and somewhat mischievous creature. Ah, that's nice. I like that about you, Zeilk. He kind of looks like a little bit mischievous, especially with this body type, because the shadow dragons always get really angry, and you know they look like little scallywags. At least that's the way that I see them anyway, but here he is. I do really like the colour scheme on Zeilk, as in gold with light blue. Bellissimo. I love it. I probably butchered that, but anyway. It's a wonderful combination of elements. We'll take him to level 20, and then I think when we get Zolto hatched, I'm going to take all of these new divines in for a quick spin. So I'm actually going to upgrade them a little bit, just so that we can use them on a couple of map fights. But Zeilk here, again, he's a very pretty dragon. I prefer his design over Lamulim. But unfortunately, because of his elemental combination, he's really good if you just need an AoE user, but having an AoE Ancient Dragon can sometimes mess up your team a little bit, or make it more difficult to form. So, he's a cool dragon, but for a lot of players, he wasn't the best choice. The best choice would have been the Earth users, or the water users, really. And Zeilk, unfortunately, doesn't have fire like Ikez does. So compared to Ikez, he just sort of loses out. Poor old Zeilk. But anyway, we got what we wanted. We have the Zolto egg, and look at how big he looks compared to the other dragons. Like, look at all these little dragons. Tiny, 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 huge boy. So we're gonna hatch him, and with our VIP bonus, he's gonna take just under 4 days to hatch. So it's a very space agey looking egg, but I'm very much looking forward to getting him in a few days time. The other dragon that we have, like I said, is the current dragon of the month, which I bred on my second attempt. So that was nice and easy, and you know, we've got free time really to try and breed him, because all that we've got going on is the solo event, and I don't care about the solo event because I can't do it. Not this week anyway. At least I don't think so. I'm only on level 2. Don't say anything. But anyway, we've got Olaf, and this is his egg here. The thing that I like about Olaf is that he's got these little potions with him, and I just love the little additional decal bits that they get on these dragons. So there's little Olaf. He's a little bit on the ugly side, but he kind of suits his human counterpart. And he is a legendary plant and metal dragon. Since he's a legendary, I don't suggest you use him on a team, but at the same time, he also just has 2 elements that aren't particularly useful. I mean, metal has some use, but plant makes him a lot worse these days than he could be. But there he is, number 739 in our collection. So, oh dear, this dragon emits the same unique odour as our friend Olaf. Luckily, it also shares his love of unique perfumes. This unique dragon will be called the Olaf dragon. They really liked their There's speech marks in this description, which I can appreciate. But we got little baby Olaf here, and he's still got his little potions with him. Like, they're teaching him from a young age how to use, I guess, alchemy. Which, to be fair, I don't really see much of anymore in DML, because we used to have all of the potions for the Enchantment League. If anyone remembers the old one, I'm sure many of you do. But you don't really see too much about potions apart from Dragon Fury Essence. So maybe he's hoarding all of the cool ones. Maybe we'll see an update where we get some of Olaf's potions. Wouldn't that be cool? The purple one, maybe it turns food into gems. Would you like that? That would be an interesting one. If we could convert food into gems, like, I'm not talking a high ratio, I'm talking a really low one. Do you think that that would be an interesting thing to add? Because I do. Imagine when you're at a point where you're just happy with your team, and instead of leveling them up, you just convert it into gems every now and then. I don't know, it sounds like a terrible idea, but also sounds like it could be an interesting one. Just saying. Just saying. But we've got Olaf here, he's got a very thick tail. Kinda weird. Kinda very weird, Olaf. I don't know, the more I see him in game, the more he's growing on me. I do really like the double hornage in his head as well. But that is Pyog. Pyog. And before you ask, yes, I've seen this new post with this dragon who's very much chowing down on his food and enjoying himself. Very boorish, as I posted earlier, but this is a wonderful carnivore, and the thing that's interested people about this is not only the fact that they've included basically the eternal fruit tree, it looks like, but also the fact that we've got the Egyptian pyramids in the background, and this has sent people spiraling into a frenzy of, oh my god, are the Egyptian divine events coming back, blah 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 blah. We don't know anything right now. This dragon, I don't really like the design, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I like the blue. I do like the blue, but the shading and everything just looks really off to me. There's something about the way that it's shaded, I think, or just the general design that's just kind of eh. But, like I said, the main thing people have been focusing on, to be honest, aside from the actual dragon, is the background. And it could mean a lot of things. Or it could just be a background image file that they've pulled to put the dragon in front. So I wouldn't assume too much from the image right now. But since we do have the end of the Ancient event officially coming to a close at the end of Zolto Rising, we should expect a Primal event quite soon. And so, you know, we've been through the Primal stuff to expect. Oh, actually we're at 740, not 739 dragons. But yeah, we know what Primals to expect now. But then the Divine event after that is the big question behind, or the big question that a lot of people have. So is it going to be related to those pyramids, or is it just going to be a completely different style of Divine Fest? Because to be honest, Divine Fest is ending. It is the final Divine Fest, so it would make sense that maybe they're doing something different because it is the final one. Like, maybe not anything too extravagantly different, but servers, please! Please! Ugh. DML. DML moment. I was about to go and shut off the recording. DML moment, Gameloft. But, yeah, I guess we will wait and see within probably the next week is my guess for more information, possibly. Unless they only want to announce the final Divine Fest details right before it happens, which would sort of make sense to me, because with it being the final fest, a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen after, and so I think keeping people speculating is the best thing. But, you know, they can do whatever the heck they want. It's not my game. You do whatever you want, Gameloft. I'm just saying I could see it from that perspective, you know? I could see it from the hiding of some information perspective. But anyway, I guess for now we'll keep collecting our stuff, we'll keep waiting for Zolto. You know, it's always nice being able to get Divine Ancients without having to actually spend any money, and I haven't spent any money since, I think it's November of last year now, so it's not like I've been getting paid gems from anywhere else. So it is possible, if you save up, maybe skip an event here and there, it's definitely possible to get Divine Ancients. Like, I don't have that many. I've got Frosky, we've got Imroja, we've got Glom, and we're gonna get this next one. But it's just, you see a lot of new players especially assume that they can't get these major reward dragons And don't get me wrong, it's not exactly the simplest thing in the world, and if you don't have a schedule that works for the game, yeah, that's not going to be doable then. But if you just create a good dungeon team, a better one than me, because I'm stuck, really, because of my dragon levels, but if you make a better dungeon team than me, and you can grind out like 3,000 stepping stones a run plus, you can get pretty much anything you want free to play. Without worries. The next trampler body type that comes, you can get them. So, between now and then, I think it's the best time to, you know, be hoarding the food, hoarding the enchantment materials, really planning out your team. And then, in preparation for the Divine Fest, if you decide to take part in it, that would be, just before then, would be the time to really finalize your team. And I say that because if you want the most value out of the game for the least cost, or no cost, then you do have to be somewhat prepared for these events. Like, you can't just go in there with a bad dungeon team, not really knowing what to do and not logging in for all the mini-events in between. You do have to be somewhat prepared if you want stuff free. If you pay, then you can get anything you want, depending on how much you spend. But to be honest, if you're really, really bad at the game, as in you've got a really, really bad team and you don't grind the dungeon and you just spend to get those dragons, it costs a lot of money. I'm talking like some people spend hundreds per event. Some even thousands, because they do that instead of playing the event, which they can do that if they want, but just even playing somewhat would reduce that by like 50%. But, you know, people are going to play the game however the heck they want to play. There's no right or wrong way. It's just, generally people believe, on average, that spending less money on random things is better so that you can spend them on the more worthwhile things in life. And while DML might be a great time waster for a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people also struggle to understand why people would spend many thousands a month. I think people should be able to spend however much they want to spend, as long as they can easily afford it. It's just, if you don't have to spend, and you can get more stuff by playing the events, that it doesn't really make sense to me to just spend the money for the sake of it. I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to like poop on people that spend money, because that's not something that I actually agree with. I think you should be able to spend, but, you know, the point is, you don't have to spend big bucks to get these Divine Ancients if you're smart about it. And, you know, that's why I do the guides, that's why I try and guide people through things, that's why we help people in the Discord server as well. I'm not saying I'm the all-seeing eye and I know everything, but if you just make some basic changes and, you know, really grind out this part of the game, you can basically get everything. But anywho, we have Premium Whale, so that's something I'm going to ignore. And aside from that, I'm just going to be waiting for Zolto. So for now, I hope that you managed to get Zolto or any of the other ancients that you wanted yourself. Get prepping now for Divine Event. And I don't say that as in it's going to come soon. I'm saying start your preparations now. But I do wish you the very best.